What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, it's team selection time ahead of game week 5. I got some pretty big decisions to make. I'm a Benrahma owner and I'm not too happy. I've got Antonio. Do I sell? Do I hold? I already own Bamford, so is that an issue as well? So there's lots of things to talk about in this one. We're going to look through how I did in game week 4 and then look ahead to game week 5 as well. So if you enjoy it, give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and let's jump into it. So it was actually like another good week. I've only had one red arrow so far, and even that week wasn't that bad of a drop. So I've gone from 277k-ish to 194k. So top 200k already. I'm really happy with that. I know there's obviously loads of people that are doing better than me. There's 194,926 people that are doing better. But in a game with like 8 million accounts, I'm pretty happy with that. I actually checked my game week 5 team selection video for last year, and I was sitting at 468,000 at this same time last year, and I ended up finishing in 1,294th. So I was in a worse position than I am now, and I had a really good finish. So it's still very possible to get right up the ranks. Obviously, there's plenty of time to do that. So I'm not really worried either way. I'm not worried that I'm going to massively fall, and I'm not worried that I'm going to, massively increase that rank. Let's just see how it goes for the next few weeks. But it's a nice kind of starting position for this early on in the season. 74 points with a 4-point hit meant that I got 70 total, which was nice. The double Brighton clean sheet was really good. I've been hoping for that for a little while. Obviously, Veltman didn't play until game week 4 for me. Trent Alexander-Arnold has just been so good. He's averaged 8.5 points per game so far. And even Luke Shaw, I was doing the watch along. Everyone was complaining when Newcastle scored. Nobody was complaining afterwards. Yes, of course, we want those big scores like Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he has been slowly ticking over. There's got a few good fixtures to come. The hit that I took was Fernandes to Greenwood, which I was really happy about because I almost took an additional 4-point hit to get Jota, and Jota didn't score as many points as Greenwood. We're only talking marginal gains, but it's about a 7-point difference so far. So even if Jota goes nuts next week, it won't be as bad, right? I still really wish I had him, but I'm happy with Greenwood, and obviously he looks fairly nailed at this point, especially if Pogba's going to play central. I don't think there's much to worry. If Pogba keeps playing central, there's not too much to worry about with Greenwood, I would say. And the best thing was I bought in Ronaldo, who was a better captain than Salah, 26 points, really happy with that. And now a lot of people are who felt like they missed the boat in game week 4 and now wildcarding to get Ronaldo or Lukaku or both of them in. So I feel like I'm actually a little bit ahead of the curve. I don't have Calvert-Lewin either. I've already got Bamford. So things are looking quite good. Like Bamford didn't perform and Antonio obviously got the -1. But from a game week 4 performance overall, 70 points, really happy with it. Let's see how we kick on in game week 5. So just wanted to quickly jump in here and say that I'm still partnered with Ultimate Fan. If you haven't checked them out, there is a link in the description below. You just need to be 18 or over from the UK or from Ireland, and it's free to play, and there's cash prizes up for grabs every single game week. I've put them on screen now so you can see exactly what's on offer for this week. And basically it's pack openings meets fantasy football. So you open your packs, you pick your team, and every single game week is a new contest. So every week there's a new chance to win money. That is my favorite thing about it. Let me show you why. So I'm in the app now, right? If I just click on this button here in the middle, you can see the previous week. So in week 1 I got 46 points, 48 in week 2, 47 in week 3. So things weren't going great. Now if that was in like a normal FPL game, you'd almost be thinking, wow, how am I ever going to do well for the rest of the season? But in this one, week 4 was a whole new contest, and I actually got 96 points and got 25 quid for that, which is super nice. And if I just click into it, I can show you the team, right? So I can click on myself on 41 points, and I can show you the team that I used for this. So I had Lukaku golden boot, Aubameyang captain, Bruno Fernandes scored that wonder goal as well. Unfortunately, I kept Reece James in there because I'm an absolute idiot and he was suspended. But what I like is that Aubameyang, right, I'm not interested in him in FPL at all because he's just not a good option compared to all the others. But in this, it's just a 1-week thing. He was playing Norwich, so I put him in, and next week I can take him out for Harry Kane or whoever else is in my squad, and I can chop and change every week. And that's what I really love about this. So basically, once you get signed up, you're going to get a base pack, which is going to start off your team. And then week to week, you'll get every Tuesday another pack to open with some free cards. And if you want to sign up for the silver or gold subscription, you can get some extra packs as well. You can't buy unlimited amount of packs, right? So if I've got the gold subscription and so do you, we get the same amount of packs every week. So I'll put some pack openings up on screen, and then you can add those players to your team, and then every single week you can chop and change. So I've got Harry Kane, for example. When his fixtures turn, I'll start putting him in my squad. Until then, I'm going to have Lukaku, Aubameyang, whoever else I want to chop and change every single week. It really is a good fun app to play alongside FPL. So get clicking that link in the description below and download it now. So because I took the 4-point hit last week, I've only got one free transfer this week. Now Now, whether or not I roll or not, I'll come on to a little bit later. I'm tempted just to make a move this week, but I'll talk about transfers once we get to the attackers. Defensively, I'm not really looking at making a move. One thing I've thought about doing is Veltman to Marçal just to get in on that Wolves defence, but I feel like that's a very kind of short-sighted move because after this week, I'd hopefully go back to the back three, rotating Veltman and Ayling for a few more weeks, and their fixtures are kind of okay to do that with, so I don't really need Marçal, so I'm probably not looking to use any defensive transfers. Brighton at home to Leicester, it's not ideal, right, with Vardy and co. Leicester haven't really been firing all that much, but I wouldn't necessarily expect a clean sheet. But obviously, I'm not going to transfer out the goalkeeper, and Veltman's only in because of the Antonio kind of knock, right? So I could potentially take Antonio out and bench Veltman, but I just feel like if I was only going to expect a couple of points against Man United at home for Antonio anyway, I kind of spoke about this yesterday in the transfer tips video, then I shouldn't really expect too much from Veltman either. So I'm kind of okay with playing him right now. It doesn't mean I won't make a transfer of Antonio, but we'll touch on that in a bit. In terms of Luke Shaw, right, obviously he hasn't kind of smashed it. If I'm looking at his points here, 4 points in Game Week 2, 6 in Game Week 3, and 5 in Game Week 4. Probably should have conceded against Wolves, and obviously Newcastle did breach the Man United defence. Going forward, there's West Ham away, Villa at home, and Everton at home. So they're not brilliant fixtures, but I think they're okay. I don't need to rush out to sell Luke Shaw, and he is very attacking still. So obviously some of the points that he's lost have been made up. Like the bonus points in Game Week 2 were from how much attacking he did, and the points in Game Week 4 were also from attack and returns. So if he could just get both, clean sheet and attack and returns in one of the next couple of games, I'd be much more happy about it. But obviously he is staying. Ayling is not ideal. The Leeds defence is just not great. Llorente is out injured. I'm not sure how long for yet, but I'm sure he's going to miss the next game. And obviously Strauch is suspended as well. That's not going to get overturned. I'm not even sure if Leeds are going to appeal it, to be honest. I don't think they would win even if they did. But Ayling against Newcastle, if Callum Wilson misses out, we'll obviously find out from Steve Bruce if he's definitely out or not when we get to the press conferences, I feel okay to play him. I think St. Maximin will cause problems, and obviously Almiron played really well against Man United as well, but I think I just have to play him. Right? I don't think it's worth using a transfer on, and I mean, Trent is Trent. 8.5 points per game. He's got really good fixtures coming up. Like Crystal Palace at home is decent. As well as they've been playing, Liverpool are a different test. So more than happy to have Trent for that one. Then Brentford. Man City at home could be a tight game. I'd probably hope so as a Trent owner. Then it's Watford. So I really want to keep him for these games. In fact, he's going absolutely nowhere. Even if I wildcarded right now, I would definitely keep Trent. So defence, there's a few question marks over a couple of players, but I'm probably not going to make any changes this week. So the midfield is interesting, right? Greenwood, every time I see the team sheet, I think I'm going to be slightly worried because I do think at some point when Fred and McTominay and stuff are all fit, Pogba could get moved back to the left, which means only one spot on the right for Greenwood or Sancho. And I think Solskjaer's going to want Sancho to kind of play himself into a bit of form at some point. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Man United did pretty well for most of the game against Newcastle with Pogba in the middle, in which case Sancho and Greenwood should keep starting on the left and right until Rashford's back. But going forward, it will be, I don't know how confident I would be on that week to week, but obviously I've just bought Greenwood in. I'm not getting rid of him. If I can get the Villa and Everton games out of him, I'll be really happy with the start. So obviously he got another return, so that's 4 returns, I think, in the first 4 games now. Obviously it wasn't like a real assist, it was just a fantasy assist, but they all count, right? So I was glad he was shooting. So he is staying. Rafinha is 100% staying. Like, this fixture run now for Leeds is pretty good. I'm sure Bamford will be fine, but whether or not he is, Rafinha is definitely going to be in my team for Newcastle away. This is one of the reasons I brought him in so early, was because of this fixture run. So I still think he's great value. Obviously, I'd love to see that tick over into some points soon, some big points, but let's see how it goes. He should have had an assist, I think, against Liverpool. I don't know what Rodrigo was doing. Kind of went for power straight at Alisson. If he just slotted it in, I know it's easy to say, just slot it into the corner, but I feel like he should have made Alisson do a lot more to save that shot. But whatever, it doesn't count. Obviously, it doesn't count because he didn't get an assist, he didn't score, but Rafinha still getting in and around the box where we want him, really. So I'm kind of happy with him going forward. Salah, it doesn't go anywhere. I've just spoken about the fixtures for Trent. Salah's brilliant. He will be my captain this week. I've got I wouldn't say no interest, but very little interest in captaining Ronaldo against West Ham away. He's brilliant. Lukaku's brilliant. Fixtures still matter. And Salah is also brilliant. And I'm not ready to say that Crystal Palace is this tough team to beat just yet. And also, Liverpool have just been very good, right? Their attack is the second best attack in the league behind Man City. It just feels like everything's clicking. They've got Van Dijk back. The midfield's looking good. Obviously, we'll have to see what what happens now Harvey Elliott's out, but they've got plenty of other midfielders that can kind of slot in, so I don't really see massive issues. So Salah's my captain. Now, Benrahma poses some... He doesn't even really pose an issue, but maybe I'm trying to be too clever, but I just feel like with Europa League starting now and the fact that they've got Vlasic, he might see his minutes reduced. I'm not saying he'll stop starting. Like, he could start against Man United, he could start against Leeds, could start against Brentford, but I wonder how far past 60 minutes he's going to stay on the pitch each time. And with Europa League, is there a chance that he gets benched somewhere along the lines? It could be in Europe, right? So I'm not making any transfers until they've played their game, but I am tempted to kind of cash in. I've made a bit of money on him. He's got Man United at home. I wouldn't expect too many points there. He could play up front, by the way, with Antonio out. It could be Yarmolenko or Bowen as well. But I'm tempted just to cash in, go for Gray or Sarr. Now, I know everyone's going to say go for Gray because he scored 3 goals, but I don't know. I think Sarr's had 1 or 2 more shots in the box. He's created more chances as well. He could be on penalties. He's got 3 good fixtures instead of 2 good fixtures in the next 3 game weeks. So there's part of me that still wants to go with Sarr. I'll be honest, right? What's going through my head is, if Gray hadn't scored against Burnley, I would go for Sarr. But now Gray's in my head. He scored 3 in a row. And you know what happens? If I go for Sarr and he blanks and Gray scores again, you just look stupid, right? I just get like everyone, well, you should have known he scored 3 and 3. Confidence is on the up, etc. But I'm looking at the stats. I'm thinking 4 shots in the box isn't that high. I mean, Sarr's not exactly massively above him either. But 4's not that high, similar to Benrahma. The expected goals are pretty low. Like, Gray just can't keep this up unless he starts getting more chances. Like, I don't think he's suddenly turned into as good a finisher as Messi or something like that. So I'm a little bit up in the air. But the thing with Gray is, like I said on yesterday's video, if he scores again, his price is just going to keep rising, and maybe I can sell, basically bank the money for Benrahma, go to Gray and earn a little bit more money and hopefully get a couple more points over the next couple of game weeks. So it's a little bit... I don't know if it's risky. I don't think it's necessarily a needed move because of Leeds and Brentford, but I just think while I've got the wild card in the back pocket and I've got no plans on exactly when to use it, why not be a little bit more aggressive with some of your moves? And it's not like I'm taking out Salah and going for Mane, right? I'm just switching a 6 million-ish defender to another 6 million pound-ish midfielder to another 6 million pound midfielder. Obviously Gray's 5.7, but close enough, and banking a little bit of money. So I might do that even with Antonio not fit, because I think Antonio is someone I definitely want to keep because of how good he is. And I don't think he's going to get rested all that often in the Premier League, and his underlying numbers are incredible. So I don't really want to sell Antonio if I'm completely honest, but I'm tempted to sell Benrahma. Okay, so when you add in the forwards, I've got Bamford and Ronaldo. And again, all that discussion yesterday about, his hamstring is pinging. We'll wait and see what Bielsa says in the press conference if he gets asked about it. But hopefully he'll be fine. Obviously, like Rafinha, he's got a really nice run of fixtures now. And to be honest, there aren't too many other forwards to go for. So if you look at Leeds, you've got Newcastle away, West Ham at home, Watford at home, Southampton away, Wolves at home, Norwich away. So even if I wildcarded in game week 7 or 8, I would keep my Leeds players. So I'm quite happy to have them because I feel like it doesn't force me into a wild card. Like, a lot of people will be wildcarding this week to get on Leeds players and to get Ronaldo and or Lukaku, and I'm kind of already there. So I'm feeling all right. I mean, it's not necessarily a massive advantage because when I do end up using my wild card, which could be in game week 7 or 8, I might not need to make too many changes. I'm not necessarily concerned about that. But by having Bamford, it's letting me kind of at least think about it, not be forced into it, as it stands anyway. Now, Ronaldo's obviously staying. I've talked about that. I will eventually sell him to Lukaku. I don't know if it'll be in game week 7 or 8 or later, but he will be sold. I'm not really... For me, right, I've already seen people say, well, what if he keeps scoring? The thing is, if he scores against West Ham, Villa and Everton, maybe even Leicester, I wouldn't even be that surprised, right? I'm not expecting Ronaldo to stop scoring goals, right? He's one of the best players of all time in the Premier League as well. Back in the Premier League now. I'm not expecting that to stop, right? But then it's Liverpool, Spurs, Man City and Chelsea in 4 of the next 5 fixtures. I'll happily get rid of him for them and just get Lukaku in for some of those fixtures from like game week maybe 7 to 11, and then maybe even get Ronaldo back for Watford. But those game weeks are miles away. I don't need to worry about that just yet. So Ronaldo's in. Obviously, it looks a bit weaker because I don't have Antonio, but because I already own Bamford and because Calvert-Lewin is out for 2 to 3 weeks, the options for selling Antonio are quite low or limited. I could go to Pukki, but if he doesn't fire in the next game, like straight away, I'm going to be pretty worried, and that's not probably the kind of player that I want to bring in. So the only other option is Jimenez. Now, I do really like Wolves fixtures, and a bit like Leeds, they kind of give you the option where they've got really nice short-term fixtures, and if you wildcard, you can make the choice about whether to keep or not. And if you want to kind of prolong when you use your wildcard, they've got really nice fixtures up until game week 14. So I could do it, but I just think that Jimenez would almost have to do really well this week. So I'm talking like 2 returns maybe. 1 return would be nice, but 2 returns, because otherwise I'm going to look at my team in game week 6 and I've got Jimenez instead of Antonio, who, by the way, is not injured. He's just getting a rest because of a suspension. And if Antonio's getting a few minutes off, I actually quite like that, because we know that he needs a bit of management in terms of fitness. So to skip one of the hardest games he's got in this opening run of fixtures is probably okay. At least that's what I'm kind of telling myself. So it seems a little bit overthinking to take out Benrahma, who's going to play probably, and not take out Antonio. But I think long term, that probably is the move. I mean, realistically, I could roll the transfer this week, but I don't see right now a move for me in game week 6, because so many of the fixtures are good. So by getting rid of Benrahma now, I get an extra good fixture. I can roll in game week 6, and if that happens, then in game week 7, I've got 2 free transfers just as Chelsea's fixtures swing. I've got 2 free transfers to sort that. So I could bring in a defender, or I could bring in Mason Mount for Greenwood, or I could do Ronaldo to Lukaku, or I could do 2 of those 3 moves. And suddenly, when everyone's wildcarding to get those players in, I can just get them anyway. And I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, that's all well and good, but what if you get an injury in game week 6? Well, I'll just react to it. And if things are bad enough, I'll just wildcard in game week 7. And so some people, when they've got a wildcard, they like to play the short-term fixtures. So anyone right now that's definitely wildcarding in game week 8, they'll be thinking about how to maximise game week 5, 6 and 7 by making the most optimal transfers and not worrying about what happens afterwards, because they can just wildcard in or out those players in game week 8. I kind of like it because it leaves me open. So if I need it, I can use it. And if I don't, I just use it a little bit down the line. So that's kind of my thinking with this team. I'm very much on the side of probably holding Antonio at the moment and playing Veltman. I just think because of him and Ayling rotating, I don't really want to swap him out for someone else. Like, it doesn't feel right to swap Ayling out before Newcastle. And Veltman's going to come in for me against Crystal Palace in a week or 2 as well. So I like him in there. And obviously I don't really want to get rid of anyone else. So I'm probably going to sell Benrahma this week. And it's probably going to be for Gray or Sarr. Realistically, Sarr's the one I want, but I don't know if I can turn down the Gray bandwagon. So I just thought I'd quickly show you how I think about, my transfers and kind of future planning and stuff like that. And I would always kind of advocate, if you can roll, then rolling a transfer and having 2 is quite powerful, because if something major happens, you've got a good way to fix it. So this week, for example, I've seen on Twitter, some people have just had so many injuries with like Calvert-Lewin and Antonio suspension, they kind of feel like forced a wild card. And there's other people that have got 2 free transfers that think they can just fix it for either those 2 free transfers or a -4 hit, and they're almost in a better position. So being able to roll a transfer is great, but it doesn't always necessarily work, or you don't necessarily always get a chance to do it. So this is on live FPL, right? So this is my team for this week with Veltman in. Now, let's say I get rid of Benrahma, all right, and I'll put Sarr in instead. I know you can't see the drop down, but I'm going to put Sarr in, right? It's just the way I'm recording it. You can't see it. So potentially I would keep him. So in game week 5, I would make 1 transfer, even though I could roll. I'm sure most people would tell me just to roll the transfer, right? And then you can use this drop down here at the top. So you can't see the drop down, I know, but I go to game week 6. And then suddenly Ayling gets benched because it's West Ham at home. Veltman is still in because of that Crystal Palace game I mentioned. I put Antonio back in the side because he's not suspended anymore. And then Sarr's got Newcastle at home. Now, the thing with Sarr is he's just not a minute's risk at all. He's always going to play like 80 to 90 minutes most games. And with Benrahma, he might still play. I am, in some ways with this transfer, just making a bet that doesn't happen. If it does, he's really high owned and he could hurt me, but I'm willing to kind of take that risk. And then you look at the rest of the team. So this is game week 6. I'm telling myself I don't need a transfer. Trent against Brentford, Veltman and Sanchez against Palace, Shaw against Villa with Greenwood and Ronaldo as well. Ronaldo might be my captain that week, possibly. Salah's got Brentford, really good fixture for Sarr. I've just spoken about how I definitely want to keep Rafinha and Bamford a bit longer term. And Antonio's got Leeds. So the team looks good. And barring injuries and suspensions, I wouldn't need a transfer. Then I come to game week 7, the big game week 7 wildcard week. Everybody wants Chelsea players. And again, I put Antonio in for Veltman because he's playing Arsenal. Ayling plays because he's got Watford. Sorry, yeah, and then who else have I got to put in? Yeah, sorry, I've got to put Antonio in for. Oh yeah, sorry, just got to put Antonio in. What an idiot. So that's the 3-4-3 formation again. And again, realistically, I don't need any transfers for this week because if I want to keep Salah and Trent long term, then I don't really care about transferring them out for Man City. I could transfer them out for this week and then wildcard in game week 8. And if I think I'm going to do that, that might be my play. So I play the fixtures a little bit while everyone else has got 2 Liverpool players against Man City, which could be a tight game. I could transfer them out, or I could just keep them. I've got 2 free transfers here, and then I can get Ronaldo out for Lukaku because everyone's going to Lukaku, right? And I don't really want 2 premium players. I've got Antonio against Brentford, Bamford against Watford. And then I've got another free transfer. So I could roll it because Shaw and Greenwood against Everton is fine. Or I could just get in a Chelsea defender. So we'll just, for example, I'll just say Rudiger just for safety, but it could be Reece James. And suddenly I've taken no hits. I've got 2 Chelsea players in there, Lukaku and Rudiger. Greenwood's fine. Rafinha and Bamford are fine. Antonio's good. Ayling's fine as well. And the keeper, okay, I'm not really worried about making goalkeeper transfers anyway. So suddenly I'm at game week 7 when everyone's wildcarding with a perfectly fine team. I might still end up wildcarding, but that is kind of why I'm thinking about making the Sarr move because he plays Leeds away in game week 7 and that's perfectly fine. And the previous 2 fixtures to that are Norwich and Newcastle, I believe. So pretty good fixtures. So that is why I'm thinking about selling Benrahma because I don't think as things stand, I need a transfer in game week 6. It's a bit of a risk, but it doesn't really matter because I've got the wild card in the back pocket. So I just wanted to show you that's on livefpl.net. I'd highly recommend planning transfers like that. It really does help. It almost helps you focus as well with what your thoughts are at because if you go down the line and the team looks rubbish, then maybe you need to rethink that transfer. So what do you think of those moves? Gray or Sarr? Or should I just hold Benrahma? Because if I'm holding Antonio for 2 good fixtures, Benrahma's about to get exactly the same 2 good fixtures as well. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just think with a wild card in hand, it could be a bit more aggressive. I got a few nice fixtures to come, and then if it all goes well, I just don't use the wild card. Is it as easy as that? Is FPL that simple? Probably not, but let me know below what you think. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video.